inclusion. All right, we'll be having this section for just 25 minutes, and we are having some prestigious speakers, and one of them is Musa Kone. He is the director for the Movement of Education and Advocacy Network Salone from Sierra Leone. Are you there, sir? Are you with me, sir?
Grace, we do have our keynote speaker, that's Dr. Regina. I believe she's ready, so maybe you could call her up. Grace, are you there? Okay, I hope you can all hear me. I'd like to think Grace is having network challenges. So Dr. Regina, please, you're welcome to the platform. Do feel free to introduce yourself and take us through your keynote presentation.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Regina Inem. I'm the Executive Director of Regamos Foundation. I'm a Nigerian based here in the UK. What I do is education, humanitarian works, and I have 26 years experience in this space. I'm a serial award winner. I have 36 national and international awards, an author of 3 books, and also the host of Creating Your World platform. So today we're talking, I'm so excited to be here. So distinguished guests, fellow speakers, development practitioners that are here, policymakers, advocates, and all the extraordinary youth that are here. I say greetings to you all. It is both an honor and responsibility to address a topic that sits at the heart of humanity's progress, amplifying marginalized voices, youth advocacy for equity and social inclusion. Thank you, MAI Foundation Global, for this fantastic summit. I've been here since 3 o'clock, and it has been a very, very interesting session and very insightful one. The future is not something that happens to young people. The future is something young people create. Now, here is a critical question that confronts us today. Who gets to create this future? Will it be those with privilege, access, influence, and opportunity? Or will it include the young woman in a remote village, the refugee navigating displacement, the young person with a disability fighting daily barriers, the indigenous youth protecting ancestral lands, the minority students challenging systemic inequality, and the millions of young people whose potential remains unseen because society has not yet learned to see them? The answer to that question will determine not only the future of our young people, but the future of our world. So the greatest waste in the world, I tell you, everyone here, is that many people believe poverty is the greatest tragedy facing humanity. Other points to conflict, climate change, unemployment, or even inequality. But I believe there is an even greater tragedy. It is the waste of human potential. Every day we see brilliant young minds excluded from opportunities because circumstances did not create it for them. We see talent universally, but opportunity is not available for all the young people. Potential is evenly distributed, but access is not. Dreams exist in every community, but resources does not. And when society silences certain voices, it does not merely disadvantage individuals, it impoverishes itself. So the next scientist may be growing up in a refugee camp. The next transformative leader may be a young woman denied educational access. The next technological innovator may be that young person living with disability whose brilliance remains overlooked. The next peace builder may be sitting in a community ignored by policymakers. The world loses every time we uh, uh, we we exclude the youth in what we do. So exclusion and inclusion is not charity. I want us to know today. One of the greatest misconceptions about inclusion is that it is an act of generosity. But I'm here to tell you that it is not. Inclusion uh, um, is justice. Inclusion is wisdom. Inclusion is smart leadership. And inclusion is one of the most effective development strategies available to humanity. When people are excluded from decision making, policies become weaker. When communities are excluded from development, solutions become unsustainable. When young people are excluded from leadership, innovation slows down. When marginalized voices are excluded from conversations, like the youth that we have today, society loses critical perspective necessary to solving complex challenges. The most resilient societies are not those that silence differences. They are those that enhances them. Diversity creates possibility, but inclusion creates progress. Belonging creates transformation. So the leadership deficit must be addressed today. And it might not start, yes, we've started the conversation today, but we are taking it further from today. The challenge before us is not a lack of youth capacity. The challenge is a lack of youth inclusion. Across continents, young people continue to be involved and invited to conferences like this, to rooms after decisions have already been made. They are consulted but not empowered, represented but not heard, celebrated but not trusted, photographed but not funded, acknowledged but not included. Too often, institutions, mistake visibility for influence. But there is a significant difference between being present and having power. A young person sitting at the table is representation. A young person helping to shape the agenda is what we call inclusion. A young person influencing outcomes is what we call leadership. This is the shift we must take and we must make. So the world faces crisis between the old generation and the new generation. The world is facing climate instability, economic uncertainty, forced displacement, artificial intelligence disruption, growing inequality, mental health issues, social polarization. These challenges demand new thinking. And the new thinking often comes from those who have learned to navigate obstacles. Now, I want to let us know that
Dr. Regina, sorry,
yes,
you have about a minute left because your time is up.
Okay. So I want to tell you how we've done this in Regamos Foundation, which I had. We have included a lot of young people, and we've seen young people, bring solutions that has transformed the lives of people in the community that we serve. So finally, I want to say that I challenge everyone today that we should include young people, should bring them to the table and have them air their view. We should give them the power, empower them to make their opinion known, and let them become part of policy making that will affect not just this present youth, but even youth to come. So I ask, what is and at this note, I also want to say that as we gather under the banner of youth at the end, intergenerational collaboration for sustainable and intelligent future. Let us remember this. A sustainable future cannot be built on exclusion. A prosperous future cannot be built while millions remain unheard. Our youth must be heard for us to move forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. We'll be moving to our panelists. We'll be moving on to our panelists. I'm so sorry for the break in transmission. We have Musa Kone, is the director for the Movement of Education and Advocacy Network Salone from Sierra Leone. And we
Pardon
have
me, Grace. Sorry, even as we are entering our panelist session, so allow me to just open the rooms, the breakout rooms, for everybody so that other people can join as well. So we do have other speakers that are going to be joining breakout room 1. So participants are also allowed to join. If you'd like to join breakout room 1, please feel free. And there's also this room as well. You can go ahead, Grace.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. We have our second prestigious speaker, is Payo Ongoro Sebastian, is the founder and CEO, Community Center for Excellence, Kenya. We have the third panelist, which is Indrani Batacha, is the CEO, Child in Need Institute. Welcome on board, SARS. I hope you are here with me. Hope you are here with me. Can you hear me, sir? Please, can you unmute your mic? All right. Can you hear me? Okay. So we're talking about amplifying marginalized voices, youth advocacy for equity and social inclusion. We have just 25 minutes for this section. Mr. Musa Kone, can you please unmute your mic, sir?
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Good
you
evening.
so much for
Good
coming on board.
afternoon. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. I'm just having some issues with the network.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on board. Can I have Mr. Payo Ongoro Sebastian? Can you unmute your mic too, sir? All right. While he does that, all right, let's direct the first question to Mr. Musa from Sierra Leone. So we are talking about amplifying marginalized voices, youth advocacy for equity and social inclusion. So I want to ask, what does meaningful amplification of marginalized voices look like beyond symbolic representation? Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir? I think we have Mr. Sebastian on board too. Can you please unmute your mic, sir?
Hello everyone. I'm really sorry. I had an issue to do with my network. My network wasn't stable. That's why I never joined you guys as early as possible.
Is it my network?
All right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry also I won't be able to put on my video. I hope you guys will understand from my end.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So the question is, what does meaningful amplification of marginalized voices look like beyond symbolic representation, and who is truly responsible for making it happen?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, my name is Pierre Sebastian. I am a humanitarian and community development practitioner with over 6 years of experience working in the refugee settings and the host community setting, particularly in the Kenya, Kakuma refugee camp. I've been in Kakuma refugee camp, that's in Kenya, for over 9 years now. And of course, living as a refugee definitely bring aspect now to do with the voices not being heard of the refugees. But all in all, what I can say, true amplification means refugee youth-led discussions, set the agendas, and hold institutions accountable, not just attending meetings. Like for instance, in Kakuma refugee camp, this look like youth-led organizations co-designing education and livelihood programs or economic empowerment programs. And this is basically what it means to be amplification beyond symbolism. And the people who will be in charge of that are the NGOs and the agencies. They need to share power and resources with the communities, with those voices, with those whose voices are not heard.
Yeah.
And another institution like, for instance, the donors, they need to trust the refugee-led organization because these are the leaders or these are the voices who do normally listen to the voices of those ones who are down on a daily basis. They are the immediate people who understand what is going on ground, rather than just calling them on table, but not giving them the opportunity to get those resources directly. And of course, also the society, they need to challenge the stereotypes that silence the voices. For instance, today in refugee setting, a young girl has got limited voices compared to a young boy. And such stereotypes need to be silent within the refugee settings so that every voice is heard, every opportunity is given to all of us equally. That is just from my end. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So I'll be directing the next question to you because we don't have the remaining speakers on board yet. So the next
Okay.
question is, how do we shift power structures so that marginalized youth are not simply heard, but are actually leading the design of solutions that affect their communities? How do we shift
Okay.
power structures so that marginalized youth are not simply heard, but are actually leading the design of solutions that affect their communities?
Okay, thank you. When we talked about participation of youth, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are called in that table to sit. The goal here is not a seat at the table. It's the power to shape what happens there. The marginalized voices, for instance, in Kakuma refugee camp, where I am right now, have proven that young people can manage projects, they can manage organizations, they drive policy change when given real authority. And this can be done through co-creation. Let's give the opportunity for the youth to design solutions alongside institutions, not after decisions are made. This is one way or the other whereby we can basically bring the aspect of participation, from participation to power sharing. Another way, like I said earlier on, is by directly funding, giving those resources to the organizations that are led by the refugees themselves. Because there is this saying which says that there is nothing for them without them. Definitely, youth cannot be given just something without them being brought into table and given that power for them to share their thoughts. So resources flow to youth-led organizations, not just through mediation or something like that, but let the donors directly fund them. Then they can solve the other issues that are affecting the community. When it comes to governance or governance roles, at youth advisory councils, they need to be given full authority to make a junior decisions in such discussions. And there we can call it is from participation to power sharing. Organizations need to trust. They need to shift from being controlling to partnering as equal stakeholders. Then you will see youth can fully and will fully take the lead. Because out of my experience, I have worked with a marginalized group within the Kakuma refugee camp. For instance, the vulnerable women, I was able to co-create, design, and implement a project with them. And it's for them because they are the one who own it. And when we continue giving such opportunities, definitely we will see the youth will definitely come and become more stronger. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. All right, so the audience, if you have any questions, please do well to drop them. Please do well to drop them. Thank you so much. All right, sir. We have another question here.
All right.
How can young advocates from marginalized communities protect themselves from burnout, backlash, and re-traumatization while sustaining long-term advocacy? How can young advocates from marginalized communities protect themselves from burnout, backlash, and re-traumatization while sustaining long-term advocacy?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say advocacy is a marathon, not a sprint. Long-term impact requires balancing activism with rest, learning, and community support. Advocacy demands repeated sharing, painful experience, and confronting resistance. Sustainable engagement requires intentional investment in well-being, not just a passion. Therefore, sustaining advocacy without burning out comes in a way that whereby we need to have a psychosocial support system in place where youth can have access to counseling services, aspect to do with the mentorship programs, and also being given safe spaces for processing. Then, therefore, we will definitely sustain advocacy without being burnt out. A scenario here in Kakuma refugee camp, there are those psychosocial services or support that are there, but unfortunately, they never allow the youth to go direct and access them. And when we are trying to sustain advocacy without burning out, therefore we need access to counseling services, mentorship programs need to be implemented. And the next point of my discussion will be now collective leadership. We should not say this is for the youth maybe in this particular community. Or let's say we should not say this for this organization, they need to support the entire community. No, it's a collection. We have to distribute the burden so that we can avoid placing representation on a few individuals. Thereby then, we will now be able to sustain the advocacy without us being burning out. Another aspect is on security planning. We need to protect those activists facing threats, facing harassment, facing discrimination in the community. Because not everyone who is going to advocate for a particular program will definitely be welcomed by that community.
Yeah.
Currently, we are implementing a program. Currently, we are implementing a program under uh, 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 gender-based violence against the UN, the UN agency. So you need to live just independent. But now there are people who have been categorized different, now the victims who are forcing their daughters to get married early for them to get now the dowry. So therefore, so that the aspect of burnout will not happen. I raise my case here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We really do appreciate you. All right, so we've learned a lot tonight in this section about amplifying marginalized voices, youth advocacy for equity and social inclusion, and that the marginalized youth voices needs to be heard and included in all our social activities, and also not just giving that seat, but we need that voice not just to be heard, but also to change things and put positive and right structures in place. Thank you so much, Mr. Sebastian. We appreciate you. In the absence of no question, we'll be handing this over to the next person. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Please, can the speaker share her contact in the chat room? Thank you. And these panelists that just spoke. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I hope we can still hear me clearly. Please, you could just give a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. All right, amazing. We still have about 9 to 10 more minutes for session 5. I can see I'm just going to call have a roll call for all of sessions. So yeah, Zeda, I think you could turn on your camera and just share a bit of your session. I believe you've been in the breakout room for a while. You could just share 2 minutes, two or 3 minutes insights about your session. And I could see Evelyn Olopade. You could also kindly turn on your camera. I'm just going to make a roll call. If you're on the call, please just kindly turn on your camera. Oluwatoyin Mabeola, Ambassador Muyiwa Abegunde Victor, Musakone Pio, I believe Pio just spoke, Indrani, Batachaya, Gift Kelvin, Yizeye, Victor Ayo, Safia Gaba, Samuel, Jatani Budnaya, Mariel Precious, Suja, and Jordan. If you're on the call, please just kindly raise your hand on just share a bit, 2 or 3 minutes. We have just about 9 minutes left before the next session begins. So yeah, you're free to go, Nakabari.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are, ladies and gentlemen. So excited to be on this summit tonight. Sorry about my internet connection, but speaking about amplifying the voices of the young people in advocacy for inclusion and equity, my key takeaway is that as we keep pushing for representation, let us push for also redistribution of power, because representation alone cannot drive the change that we desire to see today and tomorrow. We as the young people, we do have a lot of ideas, we do have innovative solutions, but you realize that often times we are just tokenized, they just call us into rooms, but at the end of the day, we do not have the power to influence the decisions that are being taken in different spaces. Personally, I'm an environmental consultant, but also I do advocate for climate justice, and I do serve with Girls for Climate Action from Uganda. We basically seek to amplify the lived realities of the people in rural communities, in marginalized communities, putting at the center the girl child and also women. But you realize that oftentimes programs do come, say, for example, climate action programs, but the women are not given that power to take decisions. Yet when the adverse impacts of climate change they hit them the most. They are the most vulnerable. But you realize that they do not have that power. So if we are pushing for young people to take up advocacy spaces, we also need to think about who holds the power and how do we then influence them to redistribute the power. Then something about the backlash, something about sustainability in the advocacy work we do. My key word to the young people out there who are pushing for change is that you need not to do this alone, really, but rather we need to build networks, we need to collaborate, we need to put together efforts here and there so that we keep the movements moving from time to time, from generation to generation. Otherwise, it cannot be a one-man army. In that way, it cannot really work. Then the other thing is making lived realities to be part of expertise is one thing, because I've realized most of the times the people who are the most vulnerable, they do have the indigenous knowledge, they do have their local knowledge, but it is excluded. And themselves also are excluded from the key decision-making spaces. So there is great need to also recognize their indigenous knowledge as people who are at the grassroots fighting from the forefront. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I believe those from the breakout room, they will be joining soon. Or if we have any question, you could just kindly send in the chat, and I could read them to either Pio or Nakabiri. My apologies if I'm bothering your name. I believe Pierre is still on the call. Okay, if we have any questions, we could just kindly send in the chat. We also have our keynote speaker, Dr. Regina. Do you still have any final comments before we transition into session 6? Hello, Dr. Regina, can you hear me? I believe.
Okay, yes, sorry. I can hear
We
you.
just have 5 more minutes. Okay.
Okay, the only comment I would like to add is that it's not enough to always have conferences like this. We need to amplify the voices and taking it a step outside the conferences, the summit, and actually give power to the youth. The youth are amazing. They have creative ideas. At least I've seen it in my foundation. They are very amazing. We should give them the voice. And we all, is the responsibility of every one of us to advocate, and use our own space to give power to the youth. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Regina. Can we all still hear me? We'll be moving into session 6 now. Session 6. The moderator for session 6, are you on the call?
Yes, please.
Osasinaga Johnson, are you on the call?
Yes, please.
You just kindly. Oh, okay, amazing.
Am I beginning now?
Yes, you could kindly proceed, sir.